Hi, I'm Kenny Blakeslee, President and CEO of Apex Site Solutions and Pulse Signal Solutions. I want to applaud you for getting involved in this year's Design Build competition. This year, there will be more than 75 teams from across California in this competition to design and build the best structure in a race against the clock. Our hope is that your structure will help a nonprofit in your community, your campus, or benefit your school's program. We're really excited about the great careers that are available to students like you who want to pursue higher education, apprenticeships, or direct hire opportunities. Students who participate in the Design Build competition are also eligible to apply for scholarships. Keep in mind, your future employer and local media channels will be at this competition, so let's bring our A game and professional attitude. Refrain from any foul language, inappropriate clothing items, and unsafe activities. I want you to have fun, but please be safe while doing it. Safety on the job site is critical. As you prepare for the competition, it's important for you to be aware of a variety of rules and procedures to ensure you and your team remain safe. Let's dive in.
Athletes and coaches design and practice plays. Musicians practice sets. The purpose is, in essence, to make sure everyone on the team knows their role and how it relates to the other members of the team. In construction, we do the same thing. We call this a job hazard analysis. We plan our work and work our plan. In a JHA, the work is in sequential order. Your task is to determine the potential hazards and then develop safe work practices that will control the hazards. Your JHA should be completed and agreed to before your team arrives at the competition.
When you see something that doesn't look right, sound right, or seem right, stop it. On the spot, right now. Don't wait for something to happen. And you should always be looking for two things: unsafe acts, for example, standing on top of a ladder, and unsafe conditions, like a trip hazard.
Each day before you start and before you pack your gear for mobilization, inspect all of your equipment, tools, and materials. Daily inspections are required for scaffolding, ladders, power tools, power cords, personal protective equipment, and the work area. You should be looking for defects, cracks, distortion, wear or malfunctioning items, as well as any differences from the day before. If anything seems suspect, immediately remove it from the job site.
Falls are a big concern in construction. We think about falls in three different ways: falls on the same level, falls to a lower level, and material falling to a lower level. Falls on the same level could be caused by rollers, power cords, and debris. Pick these items up as soon as you see them. Falls to a lower level can obviously occur when you're on a ladder or other elevated place. Everyone working more than 7.5 feet above the walking surface will need some method of fall protection. This would be a scaffold. To help avoid materials falling to a lower level, think about the drop zone. What's beneath you? Coordinate your work such that cuts are made on the ground and avoid having people working directly on top of each other.
Scaffolding will be provided upon request. Teams should contact CIEF staff prior to the competition to be connected with a scaffolding provider. Each day, inspect the scaffolding before use. Don't get on one that has not been inspected or is in unsatisfactory condition. If you're working on the scaffold and see that something needs to be addressed, fix it or climb off the scaffold. Report it to your instructor or designated safety person. Explain the issues and wait for the scaffold to be corrected. Let's talk about rolling scaffolds. Good news is they roll. Bad news is they roll. And the really bad news is they roll when you don't want them to. Before using them, always make sure the wheels are properly locked.
Ladders cause more serious injuries than any other tool ever invented. Let's review some ways to be safe when using a ladder. For extension ladders, for every 4 feet in height, the ladder must be away from the wall 1 foot. There are several cool tools and gadgets to determine if your ladder is set up correctly, but the best tool is you. Backing a ladder is when a person physically holds the ladder so that it can't move. You need to fully understand the importance of backing a ladder. You are not simply holding a ladder. You are preventing your teammate from serious injury, breaking their back, and changing their life forever. When placing a ladder, remember that the ladder side rails must extend at least 3 feet above the landing surface where the ladder is being used. Next is the belly button rule. When you're on a ladder, your belly button should always be facing the ladder and be between the outside rails. No standing with your back to the ladder. Always be sure that only one person is on a ladder at a time and that you're standing on the correct step. Don't stand on top of a ladder.
Let's talk about personal protective equipment and using our tools safely. First up, safety glasses. Always make sure you're wearing these when working to avoid any debris hitting you in the eye. When sawing or cutting or doing anything involving fumes, wear your face mask. And when using loud tools, be sure to wear hearing protection to protect your ears. Hard hats are also critical and required on the job site. One tool you'll encounter a lot during this competition is the circular saw. When using these, make sure to remove any loose clothing that could get caught in the saw blade. Remember to never stand behind the saw when using it, as these have a tendency to kick backwards. You want to stand off and to the side. Always make sure your saw has a guard on it. If it doesn't, don't use it. It's there to protect you. Also, when using a circular saw, it's important to never create a pinch point. If you're ever sawing down a line and veer off course a little, don't force the saw back in line. Doing so can create a pinch point, causing the saw to bind and potentially kick back. Lastly, you'll be required to demonstrate that you have been trained on these items and to provide proof of training. Instructors can download their proof of training documents from the resource folder at resources.designbuildcompetition.com. Please bring these documents to the competition.
The weather is likely to be warm, so it's important to take the right precautions to avoid any heat-related illness. Each student should have 2 gallons of water over an 8-hour shift. And there should also be plenty of shaded room that can accommodate the entire team. If it's hot, be sure to take frequent breaks and give yourself time to cool down. Again, you will be required to demonstrate that you have been trained in heat illness prevention. Early warning signs that someone is struggling with heat-related illness include loss of appetite, headache, and dizziness. When someone is experiencing actual heat exhaustion, they will have cramping, fatigue, or nausea. And if this is not dealt with appropriately, the person can experience heat stroke, where they will have mental confusion and possible loss of consciousness. Remember, heat stress can accelerate from minor concern to serious health risk rapidly. And yes, you can die from heat illness.
Your team needs to be capable of handling minor first aid issues and have a process for more serious problems. Each team should bring a first aid kit including bandages, gauze, ice packs, ace bandages, and an eye wash station. Strains and sprains are very common in construction, but are easily preventable. When handling material, there are several factors that can increase the chance for injury. Those include repetitive tasks, poor or static posture, extended reach, twisting motions, sudden changes in position, vertical lift distance, carry distance, and coupling or grip forces. For coupling, think about holding a bowling ball with your palm up versus palm down.
Hi, I'm Dave Vincent, Safety Manager at Apex Site Solutions and Pulse Signal Solutions. I hope you learned something new today and that you take all this information with you to the competition. We want you all to work hard, try your best, and to remain safe while working. Now, before we go, let's take a look at some good and not so good examples of people working during past competitions. See if you can spot what's good and what's bad.